It's only 20 grand.
It's only 20 grand, but it's still
Like whatever.
that's the question. You gotta, if you do too many mistakes or too many learning experiences like that, it doesn't help your overall getting to where you want to go. So sometimes you got to just step back for a second and say, is this a smart move? And you probably made a smart move, and I think I'm making a smart move by saying no, because uh, I don't have to sell it and to take a $25,000 hit that I don't have to take. And
Well,
so
we're live.
we're live. I sound like, oh my gosh.
What was that?
I don't know. It
Was
was
that a
craziness.
what do they
This
call that
stuff
in
that's going
hypnosis?
on.
Status change, not status change, break state.
Yeah, definitely, definitely. Uh, Going on with what did you decide you want to talk about on this?
I called it today the blueprint to 420K.
Oh, okay, cool. Well, let's get on it. Tell us, man. How
I'm
do you
trying to
get
change the thumbnail.
yeah,
That's the
how do you get
live
it
video.
from how do you get it from a 100 to 200 to 300 to
I'll tell you
$420,000?
this, it's not the way everybody thinks it is. Like that's for sure. Like,
Isn't it? You just have to sit down and just let it happen?
yeah, yeah. Okay, here's the thing that got me yesterday. I was like, a guy calls me up and he's like, "Hey, can you do help me with sales for the company, or can you do sales?" It was like such a weird positioning conversation, and then it was like, well, if you own an AV company, right? Like, oh yeah, we're just gonna go hotel to hotel and start, seeing if they need like AV or something like that, and that is a way to do sales, right? There's insurance people that can go door to door. You remember, I don't know if this happened in your area or not, but people would go door to door and sell like freaking vacuum cleaners.
Oh, but that was years and years and years and years ago.
Yeah. Would you
I mean,
say times have changed a little bit from then?
yeah, yeah.
Well, that's kind of what he was suggesting. Go door hotel to hotel to hotel, see who needs this kind of service, and then go from there.
I think that's the early Zig Ziglar days, help people get what they want and you'll get what you want.
I don't know
Door to
how you
door. And
connect
there,
those two
anyway,
things at all. Like, I don't know how that relates at all.
what? You said
I
door
don't know
to
how
door.
going
Door
door to
to
door
door.
selling vacuum cleaners relates
Right.
to Zig Ziglar. Like,
Because he was in the sales in bringing people what they wanted. Anyway,
oh, is that what he was? Like, I don't
yeah,
know. Was he a
salesman.
vacuum cleaner salesman?
Well, not necessarily that, just that he was in. Never mind. We'll just go back.
like squirrel.
Well, well, where did you come up with vacuums, man? That
Well,
was old
no.
time. It was an
Yeah,
old time.
and that's what I said.
Yeah.
Back in the day, or old school way of doing sales would be going door to door, see who needs a vacuum, and then somehow you would like, creep your way in, show them how great the vacuum is, and then,
Yeah.
hopefully they would buy it, right? I think they did that with freaking encyclopedias or whatever else, right? That,
Yeah.
that was kind of like the way to do it.
And Bibles and anything else.
Okay, so let's present day. Someone knocks on my door. I'm like, who the hell is it? Who? Like,
Where's the gun?
I literally have signs on my door that say, "Get
No
the hell away."
soliciting.
Yeah,
Get
yeah.
away.
Well, no, it literally says if you knock on this door, it's $100 a minute for every second you talk or something like that. And then I literally, yeah, when I get enough money, I'm going to move to a gated community so I don't have to have people knock on my door because, that's my safe zone, right? That's my safe place. Anyway, with that aside, I got sidetracked there a little bit because we started talking about Zig Ziglar for some reason.
Okay, okay, fine.
But basically, so somebody called me up and they're like, they want to go hotel to hotel. And okay, so if you own a business, right? And if you went fishing in a sea and there's no fish there, like that doesn't do you any good, right? So what are the odds of you going to a hotel? The person's in the manager, like the manager or whoever's in charge of hiring this service anyway, is like in the office just waiting for you to come to the door. Like, so you want to think about where your time is best spent, right? Like going hotel to hotel to hotel, looking to see who wants this service probably isn't a good way to spend your time. So, from the $100,000 or more I've spent in marketing classes, it's taught me a few things. Like, and I can't believe I'm saying over 100,000. In fact, hold on, where's this book? So I bought this book, and it's called Sell Like Crazy, and he's going over a lot of the information that I've kind of obtained from my other coaches verbally. Like, but I'm reading this book, and this is how he does it. And he's on Shark Tank, and his name's Sabre Subre. If you want to look him up, in fact, his commercials are crazy. And if you want to get that into your algorithm, it's King Kong marketing, and you can just watch this Australian bald guy make you laugh. Like his stuff is funny as hell, and that's something that he says in his book and in his and in his videos, right? Like you don't even have to be selling anything at first, right? Because it's kind of like walking up, what do they call them? One night stands, like oh, find some. If only it worked like that all the time. But basically, you're fighting for someone's attention, right? So as soon as you get their attention, then you can make the sale, right? So if you're entertaining and have your stuff together, then they'll want to know more, especially if you're giving value to somebody. But anyway, let's great book. Great book. I'm about 100 pages in it. It's an easy read, and that's another thing he says too. All of your marketing should be fifth or sixth grade reading level, because you don't want to alienate anybody. And if you start using words they don't understand, they're just going to feel intimidated and not want to work with you. So keep that in mind. Anyway, back to the guy who called me yesterday. Like, okay, so if I have a business and somebody wanted to purchase my services, Jeff, where do you think they're going to go? If
They're
they
gonna
were looking, they were looking for services, what do you think? What would you do to go find the service?
go to the internet,
Okay, and
type
I would,
in Google search and say DJs.
yes, that's the first thing somebody's probably going to do.
Right. And then they're
So,
going to see the DJs, and then they're going to probably look through all of them and see which one stands out the best, or Google reviews, or they're going to look at or references. If they get references, they're going to be
sure.
more likely to buy right off because somebody they trusted gave them a reference to somebody else, and then that's a way better sell than you trying to sell yourself if you can get references from places that says these guys are good. So probably the first
Okay,
place Google.
this
I
is this is
mean,
a great conversation, not like what I had yesterday.
because
I think a lot of people see the end product and they don't real like how the engine works, right?
well,
So what you were saying,
so
referrals, Google, what else?
referrals, yeah. So you'd also see what they have on the internet. You'd go to their website and make sure they have a place that they're legit, and then maybe Google reviews. Also, the best thing I mean, if I was to throw a party even just for myself or something, I would ask people I who's done the same kind of party. Did you ever have a DJ, and did you like them, and what company did you go to? So a referral is way better than almost anything. But after that, the Google reviews, what did somebody say about you? Is it
Yeah, that would be
true?
considered the second best thing, right? What somebody
Right,
else said.
because and you got to have that presence if you're wanting it. You got to have at least a good enough website that it says you've done something. Then you have to have how many, they're going to say how many events have you done? And we can say at least
Oh
10,000.
yeah, there's another thing. Yeah, the
How
four
many
reasons
events,
somebody moved.
how many years you've been in business? 40. So, those things count. And then, you know, um, uh, you've got references and you got the Google reviews, but also one thing I think we were talking about is you have to return the calls if you want them. If somebody calls you and if you don't return them for, like Johnny on the spot, in their mind, they don't trust you anymore. If you don't get back to them, because it knocks out their belief that if you're at their event, you're not going to be able to do what you're supposed to do if you
Will
can't
you
even
show up?
answer your phone, right?
Yeah, will you show up?
Are you going to show up? I mean, if you can't answer your phone for days, and I mean, like you're really quick on you try to make it 5 or 10 minutes after somebody calls, you get back to them, or even
And
less
if you
nowadays.
can't, you can use Go High Level AI to text
Right,
them. It's called
right,
missed call text back. Like, oh, sorry, I couldn't get to the phone. Can my AI help you? It at least brings them back into the loop.
right.
Like,
So, I mean, that's one of the bigger things right there is just responding to somebody who responded to you and say, yes, we're here and we want to help you. What can we do for you? I
because
mean,
anybody that's in
just that.
sales realizes it's not a 9 to 5 job.
Yeah,
They call you whenever they feel like calling you. And on top of that, they reach out to you however they feel like reaching out to you. Facebook, Instagram, text message, Google. Google has a way to chat. You can chat through the Google business listing, um, email, calls. Everybody's got their WhatsApp app. Everybody's got their own way of getting out to you, especially if you like if you want to do corporate events, like a lot of these people fly in from all over the world, to do hotel business, and you got to reach out to them with WhatsApp app or emails, right? And Jeff, would you say it takes a different level of convincing or commitment for $1,000 versus like $20,000? Like if your service was $1,000, okay, I'd
of
want to know a
course.
few things. But if your service was $20,000, there'd be
And
a few more things you'd want to figure out, right?
not only not on both sides too, you want to be able to answer questions really quick and say, if we don't have the answers right now, we'll get them for you. What do you need to know? Okay. And you got to have that confidence that you can get the team together that they need if you're charging 20 grand. Okay, if you're charging 1,000, you just have to be able to sell yourself really quick with confidence and say, hey, I've done this 10,000 times, it's going to be okay. I can pretty much deal with anything, and this is what I come with, and I'm only this. And I'm really way more valuable than this, but I give everybody a good price and I don't have to advertise much. So, but if I advertise more, I'd probably charge you more, but I don't have to because I'm that good.
So let me just lay out like a blueprint, and then we could go back
Okay.
into. I mean, we could swan dive into any one of these different stages,
Yeah.
right?
Okay.
So so basically the main thing is you want to take a client from cold to close, which is 90% what I do. And to A B compare that would be like business to business, right? So there's a lot of business to business, what people call sales too, which is not what I'm in the business of, which I wish I was. It's more like filling orders than it is, convincing somebody you're the person for the job in a sea of other people that offer the same service versus, oh, here's this order, go fill it. Like I wish I was in that kind of sales. In fact, maybe as I get older, I'll find out how to get into that. But again, back to the blueprint, right? Outreach. You could do outreach, or maybe they find you. Okay, once they find you, they then become into your environment. Then you got to nurture them, and then we have the end part, which is like closing the sale, and then operations, executing. So there's like 4 steps there, and I'm sure you could break that down even more if you wanted to. But the most important part of getting the sale is, it's great to have people come into your environment, but if you can't ecosystem, that's what they say. They say ecosystem. Once they come into your ecosystem, it's like they got to feel comfortable there, or they will move on, right? So, what's what part? Like I like talking about language patterns and closing sales, which well, basically, when I explain it to people like this, it's like you've lined up all these dominoes, and then you just go by and tip, 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 and whatever comes back to you is what you deal with. Or you could just spend your time, in a sea of like in a sea, an abyss of I don't know what's going on, or you could just funnel it to people have a trail of breadcrumbs for them to follow so that they've went through compliance steps. Like that's the most important thing in hypnosis. And again, I've learned all of this stuff between internet marketers and hypnosis people is that if you have a group of people in front of you and then you ask everybody a question, only take the people that say yes. The rest of them aren't your people. And the yes question is, do you need a DJ? Do you need a DJ? Do you need a DJ? Or you? Okay, the rest of them, like I won't pay attention to. And then they're just out of sight, out of mind. And then it's like, well, how many things can you set up on automation? Like when someone comes to you, are you sending them emails and text messages and workflows and stuff? And then, if they're like, oh yeah, I haven't got that email, then you get a text message that says, well, check your spam folder. And then it's like, oh, thanks for reminding me. Or they send another email or something, or a text message like, oh, when did you plan on getting back to me? Well, what do you mean? Like, yeah, I mean, the clock is ticking. Like your event's gonna happen, and it's around the corner. You're gonna, I don't know if I can say this on the YouTube channel, but my grandmother, shit or get off the pot. We had a rough family. We're from New York, you know what I mean? I don't know. Just release. That's what's been going on. But we're super busy this week. And again, you can show everybody what you're doing online, but again, do you know how the engine operates? Once you understand how the engine operates, then you can modify. And that's the thing too. Like I had to take all these different classes from all these different people, and none of them are the freaking event world. None of them. Like they don't know how this world operates. They operate on different elements. And like I had to like pick and choose which elements, well, trial and error more or less. Which one works, which one don't, and you stick with what works. Which is something I find a little disheartening. I've reached out to a couple different places to do speaking, and well, I haven't heard back. So we'll see what happens. Put a boat in. Let someone know. Like I can teach this stuff. I can teach you how to do it. You gotta ask the right questions too. When I was on the call yesterday, I wasn't getting the right questions, and I like because I got a call out of the blue, and I was on the road, and I wasn't thinking. Like again, do you think everybody in the world is just sitting in front of the computer going, "Hey, look, I hope you show up to the door." No, they're on their own freaking world. When you call them, it's a jolt. Like you got to be like, well, is this a good time to talk? Which I think he did, but I think he said that. But anyway, I was like, what's going on? And then you get like these weird questions, and then my brain was like, well, maybe he just didn't know how to ask the right questions. Like, okay, so I made a loom, and I was like, oh, check this out. Maybe we get some better questions next time. Like, because again, they just see the Facebook stuff, and it's like, oh yeah, you're doing all this stuff, but like, how does it work? And everybody thinks they've got it. What's that? Confidence, competence, and confidence. It's like not equaled out, right? Like, oh, I got this, and me on the outside going, no, no,
Dunning-Kruger effect. It's
yeah,
basically
I don't,
some people
I don't
think
think
they're
you got
smarter than
this.
they are, and some people think they're dumber than they are. They're both, it's just two phenomenons. Somebody comes up and starts telling you all this stuff, and they don't even really know what they're talking about, but they believe they do, and they just don't have the knowledge. Then you have people who are overly smart, and they don't consider them very smart at all. So I think it's called the Dunning-Kruger effect. And
Yeah.
either way,
Well, you can break it down with confidence and competence. It's just, yeah,
oh,
Dunning-Kruger. Yeah.
yeah,
Can you do it?
competence.
Like,
Some people have a lot of confidence that they can do something, but they don't have competence, which they can't do it. They think they can, but they can't. And so sometimes, even in a sales pitch, somebody will say, "Oh, I can do that. I can do that," and some of them really can't pull through, and they just talk. And this is why I think a lot of people get confused on how to book somebody. If especially like you and I have to sometimes go out and find somebody who we haven't booked before. So we have to look in what when we do that, we usually I would on my side, if I'm trying to find a new product that I'm going to do, I would go to somebody I've used before who knows somebody who does this product. Like if a DJ's worked with a bunch of other different corporations doing different things, and I don't do like this is exactly what's happened to me this week is um, I'm doing casino tables for an event, but I've only done it a few times. But I have a DJ who's done all kinds of events for years and years and years, and he can run it. So all I have to do is just hire him to do all the other stuff, and I just, come on top. And then I put my commission on top, and then he runs the whole caboodle. Sometimes you don't have to know everything about everything as long as you have a guy on top that you trust who can do all that stuff. And that's what you have. You have certain DJs that you can trust that they don't have to be babied. But you have these other DJs that you have to baby and you have to go to their gig to make sure they're doing everything right. And then you have new things that you bring in. You want to make sure that everything is in sync, basically. So the flow of the whole party, that's where you come in as the boss man, trying to get everything in sync with everything. And that's the same way with your advertisement. Your advertisement needs to click. It needs to be all of the, a lot of it at least. Would if they go to your website, you better have one. They look up Google reviews, you better be on there somewhere. You've got to have some references. You've got to show some pictures. You got to, because, and what you do is with AI, you get back to them immediately. And the people, what we're talking about, some of the people right now, they don't get back to the client. And then a lot of times, if they don't know who you are, they're just going down a list. And if you don't call them back, they're just going to the next one. And whoever's got the best sales pitch for a certain amount of people are going to get it. And then the people are usually, there's the three types of people who buy. One is looking for the best and they don't care about price. There's the middle guy who wants good price but also wants good thing. And there's the lower cut that they just want the cheapest thing they can get that'll survive. So it's the same way with tiers, like Macy's, Walmart, where do you want to go? And each one of those places, like you were talking about at the $20,000 event, you need to know more and you need to be Johnny on the spot and you need to have all those things all shiny. But if you're the guy on the bottom, they don't even always expect that. So, and you're not charging that. You're not charging to be on that. So, where do you want to be in your sales and how are you going to do it? It's going to make a big difference on how many sales you get because every single event you do is your last event. It's your reputation. And if you don't watch your reputation, one bad review is worth 10 good ones, or even a
Yeah.
20, so you could have 40 5-star reviews and three bad ones, and those three bad ones just seem really bad and that you neglected them, and it just scares off even with the 40 good ones. So you got to really watch your reputation. You've got to be there, Johnny, on the spot, because if you don't return the calls, no matter what, their brain says you wouldn't be at their event. You might even show up late, So also on the phone, if you ever get to them, you have to have the confidence to say, I can do your event with confidence instead of going, well, maybe I could. Yeah, well, I think we could do, well, maybe. And if you're doing
Wow.
that, you have already lost the sale. And you know what I mean? And what you're saying too is also with your AI, you can lead up with all these questions, what we already do. Before they even get to you, they kind of know you're about to sign the paper to get where you need to go. If everything up to here, and then when you get to here, it's like, I hope you went through all those things we sent you because all the answers and questions were what usually people ask. And now what I want to do for you, is there any other questions that we didn't have there? And if there are, I'd like to put them in there so people can be educated all the way till here. And now what do you want to do? I mean, we have this, and this, but we want to cater to you and what your needs are. Is there any questions at this point?
So that just leads me to a resource that my coaches have been like almost every single coach has talked about this resource. It's called answerthepublic.com. And whatever business you're in and you don't know what questions, people are asking about that business, you just put it into that website. It gives you all that information and then there's your email sequence, right? There's your website, information. There's your next video that you put on your YouTube. answerthepublic.com. And it's funny because the guy who created that website, his name's Neil Patel, and he's up there with one of those huge companies. I don't know if it's Google or Amazon or whatever. Yeah, he's a pretty big deal. And I got to see him live on stage. And I bought the recording, so I'll go back and watch it again. Quick story about like he really caught me. Like, so he's a little bit dry, and he's like I usually like hyper type, but you know, he's very steady talking. But the thing he said on stage, and I use it, I tell my wife all the time, I'm like, I want to be like Neil Patel. And let me tell you, so Neil Patel, when he was on stage, he was like, oh, I'm just never home. Like, because all I do is talk at these events. And I literally just got back from Australia. But let me tell you the story, how like, it was funny because I went to Amazon on website, and like all these kid things start going on. I go, what's going on with Amazon, this billion-dollar company? Like, and I've got all these kid things on my Amazon. And like, I was talking to the wife, and you know, like, she's like, yeah, I get all this kid stuff on my Amazon. Turned out, since he's never home, his kids got a hold of Siri and ordered things every day. And that's why his algorithm had all this kid stuff. And then while he was on stage, he was like, yeah, it was $40,000 when I figured this out. And I tell everybody all the time, it's like, I want to be Neil Patel rich, where I can just lose or have my kids order $40,000 and not even know it was there. Like, you didn't even know. Like, so anyway, if you want to check out his website, help his kids get some more toys, answerthepublic.com. Yeah. Anyway, so that's Neil Patel. He's a big deal on the marketing. Yeah. In fact, his conversation was so entailed, like I have to go back and watch it because it was really above my head. Another practical thing he said was that I don't know if anybody is using ChatGPT for them to get recommendations for things or purchase things. He says that, you know, AI will probably out replace Google here in the future, depending on how things work out. So if you're already behind the ball on Google search, well, you could get an early start on AI. Well, just get on there before you get left behind, because the stuff's moving so fast. So fast. So once again, if you want to get business, instead of going knocking door to door selling vacuum cleaners, or is anybody going to be home, or do they even need my service when I get there? That's another thing too, right? Number one, it's easier to make it, like if you go and buy a car, right? You're already convinced you want to buy a car. Like, oh, the sales guy's got 90% of the job done. It's just which car do you want, right? But if you're going to someone's house, you have to convince them they need a vacuum, and then you're the one that can sell it to them. That's two steps. It's like, oh, do you need an AV company? Okay, since you're here, use my company. Well, what makes you any good? You know, because I'm sitting here in front of you. Like, think about the positioning. If somebody comes to you, now they're in your ballpark. You get to play around with your toys. If you go to them, what are you bothering me for? What do you think is going to work out better? And that's simple psychology.
Well, go where they want you. I
Yeah.
mean, go find your avatar. Go find the people who are wanting you. Like you said before, if there's 200 people in the room and only 50 want DJs and you sell DJs, you're going to hone in to the 50 who need a DJ, because who cares what the other people need, because you don't have that product that they need. So, not to be mean to anyone, but you're going to focus on the attention on the people that you can serve. So go find the people you can serve in the world and give them and show them you have what they need. And if they have the need, you'll be attracted to each other. That's kind of finding your tribe. and finding the people who, because like you're saying, it's going to be so much harder to sell somebody who doesn't want your stuff or even doesn't even know of your stuff. And now
Not
you're
even
trying to
problem
sell them
aware is
that
what
you
they call
need
it.
it. Yeah, they're not even aware. And yes, there's, you can do that. Yes, there's a need. You can say this thing you didn't know you need, but this thing can really help you. And that's the same thing, you could say AI, people didn't need it or know about it 10 years ago, 20 years ago.
All right, so hopefully everybody can see this
No,
triangle
they
right here. It
can't. They
explains
can see a
you can't.
triangle. It can't see the words in it. It's still 17, 20, and 60%. So,
Okay, so what this explains is the people that are buying are 3%.
oh,
17% is the information gathering mode.
mhm.
20%, oh, we're problem aware. 60%, they don't even know they have a problem. So if you spend all of your time fighting over the top 3%, there's way more money to be made in the other percentages, letting people know that they have an issue, and then when they're ready, they come out to you. Versus like you knocking on their door saying, "Hey, you need a DJ." That's like going into this neighborhood right here, going, "Oh, you need a DJ? You need a DJ? Who's getting married in here?" I mean, like, so yeah.
Well, it's AI right now. It's AI. It's the new thing that's going to, like you just said, it might even take over Google, which is probably number one right now. But AI might jump up because who are they going to trust more at one point? A supercomputer that knows probably way more than any other computer, or Google? Yes, that Google's
So
been around for a long time.
one thing I've noticed, and I don't have any research on this yet, but when I go to Google and I type in a restaurant and I type in the exact restaurant that I want, it doesn't give me that. It gives me who's paid the ad to be hired. So I did this recently. I was like, "Oh, give me the number to Texas State, Brazil," from Google, and it didn't. Like I just clicked on the button because I was like, "Okay, I just need to call these people," and it didn't give me that restaurant. It gave me somebody who had paid for an ad. So I made the dinner reservation. Then the wife looked at the phone. She's like, "That's not even Texas State Brazil." Okay, now flip it. If you're on Chat GPT, it gives you exactly what you want. So that right there might be enough to change it because it's forcing whoever paid for the ad onto you versus like what you were looking for.
Hmm.
And Chat GPT will give you options that I don't think you could pay to be on there yet. There's no way that I know of that people are paying for ad space on Chat GPT or whatever anybody's using. But Google or Gemini, I'm sure is something to think about. Like I don't have the research on that, but that's just what my mind comes up to.
Yeah, we'll come back in a few weeks when it's 100%.
But anyway, back to the blueprint to the blueprint to 420K, right? Like you want to have your website, you want to have it SEO optimized, you want to have it hooked to a Google business Google. Like I met with somebody who didn't even have a freaking Google business account. You got to have that so you can connect it to your Google Ads account and your Google Analytics. Now, people right now are searching for Google and you're not going to be able to rank high and you want to make sure that you call up your friends, give you a 5-star on Google, and then you can start ranking versus your competition because you'll show up, if you're paying for ads and then you're paying for interaction if people are, giving you reviews and stuff. All right. So just keep that in mind. When people go and look for the service, they're going to go online. Once they come into your ecosystem, you have to be able to follow up with your systems and then lead them to a sales call. Now, however you want to do that. There's different ways. You give them phone calls, do Zoom calls, or just send them contracts if they already know who you are and it's just a referral. It's an easy sign. So there's that. And then there's the execution. And then you have it on automation for follow-ups, make sure everything went well, and then go from there. And then, of course, as you grow your business, you'll be able to find more people to refer you out. And I don't know, I've had crazy things happen, with my business. So that's pretty much how I was able to do it. But that's a very brief outline. But I live and breathe this stuff and do it every single day. And it's about applying something. Like one of Billy Jean's things is learn something new and apply it. Find out if it works. Do it as fast as possible. Modify when things aren't going the way you want them to. and it's how fast can you change out and then adapt? Because I don't think your competition is going to be that aggressive. And then how bad do you want it?
Have the
But
right product too.
yeah, but talking to people that own businesses and haven't taken any of these classes is racking my brain. It's mind numbing.
Well, also the truth is people don't know what they don't know till they know they don't know it, and then they have to decide if they're going to learn it, because most people, like you're saying, they don't even understand what they don't even understand because they don't know.
Yeah, I was talking to Dion the other day, and I was like, "Oh, a lot of people don't know about this," and because I was doing Chat GPT agent mode, and he texted me back, and he's like, "Man, nobody knows what you're talking about half the time." Like, I don't know.
And that's what I say to you too, Scott. It's like sometimes you're just in your own world that people aren't there yet, and that's okay. Uh, and that's also a proof that each year you're going up around $100,000 more on gross sales,
Well, we'll
which is
see when this
good.
video all gets here how much it goes up.
Yeah,
I
and
mean, it'd be
there's
really cool
another
if we could
thing.
have an office and stuff.
In the olden times, like when I was doing it more a lot, uh, it, the thought was always put 20% back into your company, no matter what, every year. And that's the same. A lot of people think you should put 20% of all your money into stocks and bonds and savings and for your future. But as your company, it was always said that, put 20% back in your growth of your company every year, and it'll keep growing bigger and bigger and bigger. And that's kind of what I did with mine. I just bought so much stuff. Now I've got so much stuff. And at the end of your career, now you got all this accumulation of stuff, and you can either sell it, sell your company, sell all your equipment or whatever. But that's what you're doing. You're gaining wealth the way you each year you get more stuff, but also your company's more valuable because it provides more stuff. I mean, right now you're doing you started out just with DJs, but also now you have photo booths. Now you just got a wall.
Now we're doing event photography.
Now we're doing event, and pretty soon you'll probably move into bringing entertainers in, and then you're a full scale thing, and then you can start doing flooring and everything, and then you are pretty much the event manager, and then you're bringing all the keys. Now, again, you have all the tools to get that done, yet then that's just another headache in a sense, because then you have to guarantee the whole kit caboodle and put it all together. But at that point, you're making a whole bunch more money. So when you're following money, you've got to have more stuff if you want more money. It's sort of like the people who buy a corporation, get it going, and then go buy another corporation, get it going, and then they keep on doing that. And now they have six corporations, and they're all making money, and one of
Well,
them
I want to
doesn't
get
make money.
faster at it. This is
Yeah,
taking forever.
yeah, I know.
5 years, like, golly,
I
you
know,
got to
but
get quicker at
five
this.
years you get you're getting your blueprint of your thing, and then you just rinse and repeat. But the only hard thing, Scott, is finding another Scott. Finding
Yeah,
another Scott. And the problem with finding another Scott is that they don't there's not a whole bunch of Scots out there. And also a Scott after a while won't want to be under another Scott.
yeah,
Because
yeah,
they
yeah,
will
yeah,
want to
yeah,
be
yeah,
their own Scott.
yeah,
And
yeah.
so that's the problem. And some people are okay to be a Scott and not to be a super Scott.
Well, well, I mean, frick, man, like
We'll
other
be on the
companies
Scott
do.
team.
Other companies do it. Like, I stare at awe. I'm like, how does Disney and Walmart and like they employ all these like a large amount of people, like, and they have to operate every single day, right? So, I mean, it
Well,
happens.
they have recruiters to find Scots.
Yeah.
And Scots are out there, but some Scots don't want to be the kind of Scot you are. Well, some Scots do just want to do one particular thing. And you know what they say, do the thing you do best and let the others do the rest. And there's that kind of Scot. You're an all around Scot. So you go and you do everything. You're a DJ, you run the DJs, you buy the other stuff, you run that, you run the whole kit caboodle right now. And that's why it's not moving as fast because you don't have another Scott under you who's actually doing all the other stuff. But you're learn see, you're taking a lot of your time to learn and implement, learn, implement, learn, that's fine. But you don't have an underbee under you who's doing a lot of that legwork. I mean, you do have a few people doing it, but the more people you have taking those other responsibilities, and just like that one guy came to you yesterday or the day before, could you do my sales? So you get somebody that you teach one good thing, and that's what they're really good at, sales, and that's all they do. And then you have that spot covered. And then so you get a team member on everything that they're best at, and that's what they do. But when but you're doing the whole thing, so it takes longer to do because you're learning every part of it. But then at one point, then you can just walk across the whole all these things and say, yes, that's going right, that's going right. That's called a project manager. The guy who's above everybody who knows who to tell them what to do, and they got to go do what they're so told. And you do the sales. You get and each one has to do you set up the whole situation where you make the list of everything that has to be there in the timeline. And this is the timeline for this. This is when we're bringing in the flooring. This is when we need to get the lighting up. This is when we have to get the DJs ready and the dance floor ready and the smoke ready and for this is and the speakers and the whole thing. You're putting it together. And that's the same thing you're doing with your company too. You're getting the components of your company, your website, your AI, your everything. And then, and because you have to have that, a lot of that in place. So it's an automatic sell. Because if you don't have that, you're going to have to work real hard on convincing somebody that you're the guy for the job. But what we want
Yeah,
at the
the
end,
AI does a lot of that heavy
yeah,
lifting,
that's what I'm saying is at the end, we would just want people, like you said, is at the end, they're just coming to book. They're not really coming to haggle or anything. They're just saying, we know you can do what you do. We know you got a reasonable price. Just just sign here and we'll make it happen for you. That's what we want. You know,
Well,
we'll
there you
get you.
go.
That's end of the day, right? But
Any
we
closing
already know,
remarks?
Scott, we already know it doesn't always happen that way. There's going to be kinks
No,
and everything. So it's not
no.
it's not what comes up in your business. It's going to be how you deal with it and how you let it affect you and your next move on your company. So sometimes you have to change the whole rule of your company when you find out something's not working. So there's going to be things all through your sales pitches and everything else that you find that didn't work. And a lot of times, especially the more you do it, the more you can feel it and the person you're talking to. And there's going to be all kinds of people in front of you. We haven't even talked about the kinesthetic person or the, visual auditory kinesthetic, how they see the world and how you come back to them. You got to kind of be on their same level or you might not connect. You're not, if you don't have rapport with the person you're selling, you might not get to sell.
That was
Or the
another avenue
prestige.
you could just dive into too. Like I've done a bunch of sales calls recently, and the people on the other end are going, "Hey, you're the only one that's not pushy. Like everybody else is pushy. Like I don't even feel comfortable." Like I'm like, "Well, thank." I cried the last time I was told that. I was like, "Man, you have no idea how much I've worked just to figure this part out." Like that was like my biggest holding thing. Like I didn't know how to do sales. I didn't know how to talk to people. I didn't understand empathy or that that's another thing too that I talked to another other DJ, then they'd be making all these social posts and stuff, and I'm like, man, get it through your fucking head. they don't care about your company. They care about how themselves, right? Like how that works out for them, right? Like so stop saying, "Oh, look at me," saying, "No, look at you inside of this company." Like don't be, "Oh, look how great I am." No, no. Look how much fun you'll have enjoying the stuff that I have. That's the message. Imagine yourself on this lit up dance floor, or imagine your video on this big old screen, and everybody's looking at it, or imagine what a wonderful time you'll have because we have all the professional stuff. That's the message. Not look at me, look at all this great stuff. Like, oh, that's great. Well, what does that do for me? Like, because that's what people care about themselves.
Definitely.
And I thought that was so. That's not plain and nobody. Not a lot of people understand.
It, it takes a while. Takes
Well,
maturity. It
if you want to
takes years of,
succeed,
and a lot of this stuff it's acquired. I mean, you can tell people all day long something until they get it, they don't get it, and that's okay. They're just different stages of where they're at, and that's what we working on here to tell people. Everybody's different paced, yet you got to start somewhere, and then. Uh, with the sales pitches, you'll get better after a while. And a lot of times you're going to make these mistakes. Our learning experience, what we like to call them, is, you know, just like you said a lot of people are coming to you and saying these other guys are too pushy. You need to sign here, you got to do this, or like they sound desperate. It's like like that, instead of going, we got this, we have this and this and this, and we've done thousands of events. I'm sure we can handle yours if that's where you choose. Get back to us. Here's the timeline. We do get booked up pretty quick, so we would ask you to make a decision when you can. Yet it will. You've got all the information. Just call us back if you need any more, and you have a good day. And if you don't sell it too hard, people hate. I mean, not all people, but a lot of people. I know I don't. I don't like a pushy salesman because it feels like I don't have a choice. And when you don't give people choices, I mean, you could use the triple, bind or something on them. But I always say, right now, my sales pitches, you know, if you want me, you can have me. If not, that's fine too, because I don't have to have the event. I'm pretty much set. So I love to do these things, and if you want to book me, good. If you don't, because they try to talk me down, and I go no, and they say, well, can't we get you cheaper? I said no. I mean, it I bring more stuff than almost anybody, and I've done 10,000 events, so I'm worth it. And I'm not saying I'm the only guy out there worth their money, because that's not true, because there's a lot of good entertainers in Dallas, but I'm one of them. So if you want me, you can get me or not, because it, for me right now, it doesn't matter if I get a job or not, because I don't have to have a job. So that's a good place to be. And it's not pushy either. It's just saying, I have the stuff, I have the skill, and I know what I'm worth. And if you want a good show, and guaranteed I'll be there unless I'm dead. And I've never, I think, one mistake in 40 years. So I have a really good reputation on that. So I do have confidence on it. And yet I don't have to push them, because if I don't get that job, I can just play with money. I can just do whatever I want. But I mean, 40 years of this. So, I mean, and Scott and I are different places. I run a little, my company was kind of like Scott's at first, but I kind of burnt myself out at the first, because I just worked every single day what he's doing. But it got, after 20, 30 years in, every single day, it's like, I didn't even want to answer the phone. So right now, I would say I answer the phone only when I want to answer the phone, which is not necessarily a good thing, because we already told you, if you don't answer that phone, most of the time you won't get that gig if you wait too long, because they'll just go down a list a lot of times.
and if you have
But
go high level, it could do missed call telephone.
yeah, And so if you have that set up, then you're ahead of the game.
And
And
your AI will just continue the conversation and answer all
right.
the questions.
So that's definitely, so that's a totally, and where are you going, investing in your company again, getting the AI, because that is the new thing and it's going to be here. It's not going away. AI has
It's going
not
to
gone
take
away.
over.
Right? Game is over. The other stuff. Okay, you could give an example, like you were saying, door-to-door salesman, but the also thing, back in when the door-to-door, there was phone books. When I was in business like 20, 30 years ago, phone books were, you didn't have the
When I
internet.
was just a
So the
baby.
phone book. Yeah, when you were a baby. So I was in 13 phone books, but I got 30 to 40 calls a day. And it's just, and I was putting out about 40 people a week. So back in the day. So and I was doing what you do. I mean, I didn't have anything to, I was just it. So I would stay up every day because I almost had a gig every day, just like you. But I also had to run the company and pay the people. And I had 40 people I had to pay every year, on their
I had a phone that
1099s.
did this.
And you have a phone, yeah, and a phone that did that.
I
And
don't know how
um,
people did this that long ago. I don't know how it happened.
my first computer had 4 gigabytes and it was like $4,000. Can you imagine? I bought it for an extra $1,000. I got another gigabyte of space. That's how big. But now you can get, for $9, you can get 32 gigabyte on a little flash drive, and it's amazing. It's the same thing with TVs and electronics and everything. I bought a TV for $3,200, which was a 32-inch, and I gave it away because nobody wanted it. It probably weighed 100, 200 pounds, and now I've got like 10 flat screen TVs. I went from the fat ones to the skinnier ones, but that's how fast. Like, what is it? Every 3 months that your computer's almost obsolete,
Yeah,
especially with
I think
AI
I
now.
think they do. I think part of that they do it on purpose, but whatever.
Oh, they don't put out all the good stuff because they want to
Yeah,
put it out later, just like in the phone,
yeah. Yeah.
because they want to
There's
do
a
six.
theory for that. I forgot what it's called, but yeah,
Yeah,
it's like implanted degeneration or whatever.
and same thing they say with the batteries on the phones. Isn't that true?
Sure,
Yeah, who
sure.
knows?
Anyway, that's pretty much all the time I got for today. You guys have been amazing, and drop a comment, share a link.